on YouTube, Oibaf 1420 asks, what are your favorite multi-day walks that are not great walks? All right, that is a really cool question. I just have to say that this is so rare that we get a question that we both get really excited. So we wrote a lot of notes. We're not going to go too crazy because we do have on BackpackerGuide.NZ an article called the alternative to New Zealand Great Walks, which are all the multi-day walks, which are much cheaper and much more, the thing that we still love a lot. But let's go through a few of the one that we do really like right here. And the first one that springs to my mind, I think we're going to do one, is the Pelorus Track. So the Pelorus Track is between 2 to 8 days, and it's up to you to choose. Doesn't mean like some people walk 4 times faster than others. So the Pelorus Track is 2 to 8 days, and it's in the Fjorden National Park. Now in the Fjorden National Park, this is where you have the hikes like the Milford Track. This is where you have the Roodburn Track. Another one of the great walk is there?
Milford Track, did you say?
Milford Track.
And Kepler Track.
Yeah, Kepler Track, that's the other one. So there's 3 great walks right in the heart of the Fjorden National Park, where this is another really amazing alternative, and really little people are doing it. So the huts are much cheaper. They will cost you about $15 per day. What's the cost of the hut at the Milford Track at the moment?
Milford Track and Roodburn Track, they are over $100 per night.
So we're talking around 10 times cheaper just for the hut alone. The Pelorus Track is absolutely stunning. It starts with like some amazing cliffs from the Darren Mountains, and then you follow the Pelorus River, and you finish on the wide west coast, which, despite the fact that we always tell you guys how much it rains over there, it is one of the favorite regions in the country. So it's definitely a great it is a great walk, which is not a great walk. So I always got it. Anyway, so that's a really cool one. Do you want to do another one?
Okay, so another really cool one to do on the North Island is the Pelorus Circuit, which is in the Egmont National Park. And if you don't know where that is, that's in the Taranaki region. And it's right in the center of the Egmont National Park where Mount Taranaki is, and then it's got this perfectly circular forest around it. And this circuit takes 2 to 3 days. And I just want to emphasize that a circuit is really awesome to do on a multi-day hike in New Zealand, because that means you don't have to arrange transport to get back to the beginning. So a circuit means that basically you begin and end your hike in the same place. So the huts on this on the Pelorus, I don't know how to pronounce it very well, but Pelorus Circuit are really good quality. So they actually have heating and lighting. It's a little similar to
this is very rare in a hut. I just want to say this is not normal.
Similar to the huts that you would find on a great walk, but obviously a lot cheaper, only around $15 per night. The circuit basically goes around the perimeter of Mount Taranaki. So you get awesome views of this perfectly coned volcano in the middle, and you also get to go through some beautiful forest, sort of nicknamed the Goblin Forest in Taranaki because it just looks like a fairy tale mythical place. It's really cool. So this would be a good alternative walk to do to other volcano hikes like the Tongariro Circuit.
Although it is very different, it's still going to be a really good. It's just really cool to see how volcanoes can look so different.
Exactly. So, do you want to go for another one?
All right. So the next one is the Hump Ridge Track. Now, the Hump Ridge Track is it's not the cheapest one, but so it's in the Fjorden National Park and gives you a very different. Again, I'm just going to recap. The Fjorden National Parks, where you have the Milford Track, the Kepler Track, and the Roodburn Track, and also the Pelorus Track that I mentioned previously. It's one of the most picturesque kind of national park in New Zealand. It's actually the largest national park in the country, I think, the Fjorden National Park.
Yeah, I do believe
it is gigantic at the bottom of the South Island. It's really amazing. And now the Hump Ridge Track gives you a very different kind of look of what the Fjorden National Park can look like, because you go through the rugged coastline of the national park, which is very rare for any of the walk that you're going to find in the Fjorden National Park. They usually don't go through coastline. Now, the track is actually on private land, so you have to go through a private company to do it. So it will cost you $175 for the 2 nights accommodation, and that includes breakfast. So now that's still about half the price of doing the Milford track, and you get free breakfast on top of that.
Yeah.
So it sounds more expensive, but it is still cheaper than the Great Walk, which sounds quite crazy when you talk about walking for $175.
And so, also, I just want to say the accommodation is very different there as well.
I mean, it's private accommodation, so it's not a hut. It is much more comfortable.
It's more of a lodge, like a nice, comfortable lodge.
And the 175 is actually for the 2 nights, so it includes both nights and both breakfast. So it's quite cool. So the views are fantastic. The feel is fantastic. You still get like this feeling of the beautiful Fjordland National Park, but you also have the coastline, which is very different, and it's a bit more of a luxurious experience. It's really awesome. It's really cool.
Yeah. So another really awesome walk that I have done myself actually at the Altea Track.
By yourself?
I know. Yeah. So the Altea Track is on Great Barrier Island, which is a pretty large island off the coast of Auckland. To get there, you need to either take a ferry or a flight. This hike is 2 to 3 days long. And this is probably an alternative to doing the Rakiura Track in Stewart Island. So it's like a different island multi-day walk, but it's a lot warmer because it is in Auckland, in the sort of like northern regions of New Zealand, whereas Stewart Island is in the very southern regions where it is a lot colder. The huts are really good quality. There's a really awesome hut which is like on the edge of a cliff where it has amazing views over the island, and they cost around $15 per night, so definitely affordable. So on Great Barrier Island, there's loads of wildlife to see. So you get like a lot of opportunity to see birds, and even some birds that can't be found anywhere else in New Zealand, which is really cool. And the whole hike along the way, you get a really good mix of forest and also beautiful views across the island. So that was
2 to 3 days.
Yeah, I already said that.
You said that,
yeah. So that's the Altea Track, and we'll put some more information to that track in one of the articles in the description below.
Right. Yeah. The next one we have is the Pelorus Track. So now the Pelorus Track goes, it's in Pelorus River, Pelorus Sound. It's between Nelson and Picton. And that would be very close to the Abel Tasman National Park, which is going through the Abel Tasman, the Abel Tasman Track, which is one of the Great Walk, and which is going in the Abel Tasman National Park near Nelson. Now, the views again are going to be extremely different, but they are absolutely fantastic. So it's a 3 to 4 days walk. It's in the Mount Richmond Forest Park. The huts include the heating as well, not like you really need it because it's kind of warm part, but in case you do it in winter, it includes heating, and they are like $5. I mean, compare that to a Great Walk, it's crazy. Now, so you're following basically the Pelorus River. You're going from Nelson to Picton. It's a fantastic walk. You're going through the parts in the Lord Ring, in the Hobbits. Where if you watch the movie, where they are doing all this craziness with the barrels, like all the Hobbits are in there. So that's basically where they were shooting it. Like you will actually pass literally through movies location while walking, which is absolutely awesome. So it's definitely one worth doing. And you finish in Picton, which is an amazing place. I genuinely love Picton. Other point of interest alongside the walk are going to be waterfall. There's quite a few really, really nice waterfall. And there's an old chromite mine as well. So it's part of New Zealand kind of culture and history. I don't know what chromite is.
Yeah. Okay, so another one actually in a very similar area to the Pelorus Track is the Queen Charlotte Track, and this goes through along the mountains of the Queen Charlotte Sound, which is basically the whole Marlborough Sounds area where you pass through when you take the ferry between Wellington and Picton. That's the sort of area that you're going through, but there is a multi-day hike there, which is really awesome, and it's 3 to 5 days long, and it's a one-way hike. So there's various different accommodation options that you can take on the Queen Charlotte Track. You can stay in huts, which are around $8 per night. You can stay in hostels along the track, which is about $30 per night. And there's even some luxury lodges and accommodation if you really want to have a fancy time. Oh, sorry, I was nearly about to choke. Choke with excitement because it's an awesome walk, and that's about $200 per night. So yeah, that's a really awesome hike to do, and it goes basically from bay to bay. You get to see some really secluded inlets and awesome ocean views. You get to go through amazing forest and get to awesome views over the mountains along the way. So that's a really awesome one to do. And also you can mountain bike this track as well.
But what I really like about it as well is that you can make it your own experience if you want, because if you do feel like, you want to stay on the cheap, you stay on the cheap as it goes. But if you do feel like you want to treat yourself one day along the way,
I think I just want to make an amendment to that. I don't think you're staying in huts for $8. It's campsites.
Yes.
So campsites for $8, then hostels or luxury accommodation. Yeah.
All right, and then finally we have the Around the Mountain Track, which is literally the closest hike to the Tongariro Alpine crossing. The crossing? Yes.
Yeah, the Great Walk
or the circuit.
Is the circuit, yeah.
The Great Walk is a circuit that includes the crossing as well. Now, so it's in the Tongariro National Park. It is alongside the most popular hike of the country, which is the Tongariro Alpine Crossing. It gives you amazing volcanic views. The landscape is absolutely stunning. It's definitely worth doing. So
loads of waterfalls.
Yeah, loads of waterfall as well. So that's going to be 4 to 6 days. For the walk, the huts are going to be around $15, except that one hut alongside this track is actually shared with the Great Walk. So this hut will be $36, and you will need to actually book it a little bit in advance. Yeah. Just to make sure that you can secure your own
I think you can also get away with avoiding that hut and staying in one of the other ones. I think that you'd have to check how far the walking distance is.
So for most of the multi-day hike, when we say 4 to 6 days is what the Department of Conservation kind of recommends. So they will tell you, day one you do this to this, and then you do this to this, and then you can do this to this. But very often they give you days which are 5 or 6 hours. And so we don't really get what are you supposed to be doing for the remaining 19 hours of your day?
Might as well keep on walking.
Exactly. So sometimes it does happen. More than sometimes, almost every time we do a multi-day walk, we actually kind of skip a day, and then 1 day, 2 days become 1 day, and so you skip a hut. So if you kind of organize yourself properly, that's definitely what you can be doing on this one. Rather than making it 6 days, you make it 5 days, and you kind of skip that one, and you just have 1 day when you hike 8 hours. Which, to be fair, if you do a multi-day hike, you better hike 8 hours, otherwise you kind of. I still don't understand what you're doing if you don't walk. But it's my experience.
That also opens it up to people that maybe are a little bit unfit and would want to, take their time and really have basically the peace of mind knowing that the hut is really not that far away. It takes maybe 5 hours to get to. You can take all day to get to that hut. So it's just another safety precaution if you feel like you're a slow walk and you don't want to get caught left out in the dark, basically.
Exactly. So there is so this is literally just the tip of the iceberg, right? There is a huge amount of absolutely amazing multi-day hikes to do in New Zealand, and the Great Walks are a very small minorities, just the walk which are basically being marketed a lot. So really look around. There are a ton of options, and we will put some links below to the hike that we like the most. We also talk about them a lot on the guide, so make sure to check out BackpackerGuide.NZ, which is our travel guide to New Zealand, and you'll find that there is many options, and you don't necessarily have to shell $150 for a night in a hut on the Milford Track. Trust us. All right, if you did find that useful, like and subscribe. Honestly, we do that every single week, and we're here to answer your question